welcome everyone to High Off the Glass, the podcast that blends marijuana, gambling, basketball, and current events. And today, this is the gambling guru. I am here today filling in for our normal podcast host, Oh the Great. He is still recovering from shoulder surgery, and he will be back with us in about 2 weeks. Right now, I have a very special guest today. I'm so pleased to bring you guys the director of an independent film called Down the Long River. His name, Harry Kolmer. Everybody, let's give him a round of applause.
Thank you. Thank you.
Harry,
Yes.
I'm so glad that you're here today. Can you give us a little bit of an idea what Down the Long River is? What kind of movie it's about? What kind of movie it is, and what was your role with the production?
Oh, I'm the director of the film. It's a Western. It's a revenge thriller. Primarily a Western, but definitely, it's a dramatic thriller. A movie about violence. I don't know.
What year is the movie set in?
1879. I feel like you're quizzing me.
So it's set in 1879. That means it's post Reconstruction.
Yeah. Oh, I guess that period is still considered the Reconstruction. I guess. Yeah. I mean, I'm not a historian, but we could look up when the Reconstruction era actually is. But it
was over around 1885 or so.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So it's still within Reconstruction, but yes, it's post Civil War. It's in the wake of the Civil War.
And were any of the characters in the movie involved with the Civil War in any way?
I think the vast majority of the characters. Well, I mean, there are characters that are, because it's 20 years after the Civil War, so there are characters that are younger that obviously wouldn't have been involved. But all of the principal characters essentially were involved in the Civil War on one side or another.
Wow, that sounds incredible. What are some of the things that drew you to the film? What were some of the reasons you were interested in, working on the movie itself? When did you read the script?
Well, Kurt Aubuchon, the writer and producer and star, came to me and asked me to be involved in... I don't remember if it was late 2023 or early 2024. I know that I was officially doing it in the early 2024 period. I think outside of the script itself, the opportunity to make something big and expansive that has all these different characters and do a sort of world building was exciting, even if the genre aside. But then getting to make a movie about, I think that all of my, I don't want to say all, but the vast majority of the movies that I love the most, you could, if you wanted to, boil them down to why are boys like this? And I think that Down the Long River is a why are boys like this movie as well. It's about the way that men react to violence in their lives and trauma in their past.
Well, we'll get into that in just a little bit. I just want to let everybody know that Harry and I have been friends for about 5 years now. Harry and I...
feels like longer than that.
Yeah, it does feel like longer than that. We've known each other for at least 7 or 8, but we've really been good friends for about 5.
Well, I'm sorry, I don't mean to cut you off. I've known of you for quite a while.
Right now, Harry and I are enjoying something called Blue Dream. It's one of the familiar patriarchal strains. One of the best strains ever.
What does that say underneath that? Blue Dream Vanilla?
Oh yeah, well, it used to be in this little handy dandy container that's airtight. It used to be a strain called Vanilla Custard. And before that, it was a strain called Ya Ya.
Yes, but these are all still written on it. Can you show that to one of your cameras?
I will say that
it reads to me Blue Dream Ya Ya Vanilla Custard, as if that is one strain name.
Yeah, one of the only things I don't like about this container system is you would think you could erase the letters that are written on this little thing.
Can you not?
With the little marker? No. Once you write on the little, and it's a non-permanent water-based ink, So I've scrubbed with it and everything, but it's just it won't go over.
What if you
It
took
won't
a magic
wipe
eraser
off.
to it and get some microplastics involved?
Yeah, maybe one day. So
I kicked something. I'm so sorry.
one of my
Oh, it's the
hey,
dog. I'm so
there's a
sorry.
dog.
I did not kick the dog. I brushed my foot against the dog.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you are not watching on YouTube, there is a dog in the studio. You might hear something walking around, maybe some noise in the background. It's a very friendly little dog. So one of my favorite things to do is to try and start a little tradition or a ritual when you smoke a bowl. One of my favorite things to do is count down from 420 all the way to 0 and then light up. Here we go, Harry. You ready? Oh yeah, you're with me.
419?
4, 2, 0.
Oh, I get it.
Fire it up. So, Harry, when was the first time you had Blue Dream as a strain?
Dude, I don't know. Couldn't tell you. Like, I don't, I've never been someone, I mean, the first, I don't know how long, when was marijuana legalized here?
I think it was legalized in, recreational
21?
21, medical 2018.
Yeah, but I never had a med card. So, I mean, for the first fucking, I don't know, but like for a long time, for probably 10 years of me smoking weed, I was smoking it illegally. So whatever strain someone told me it was when they handed it to me on a bridge, like I don't know that I could fucking believe it. Like it's just like it was whatever. I knew good weed from bad weed, and I don't remember ever taking the strain names into a tremendous amount of account. And then even still today, I think that I'm mostly, when I'm looking at dispensaries, I'm really looking at the percentage number relative to the price, and I'm making more economical decisions. I know that some people do. I think yourself included.
What sort of percentage THC are you looking for when you're shopping up there?
I mean, just the highest relative to the price. Like I'm just looking at that number versus this number and finding what is a good decision for me. But I know some people like you are more like sommeliers of weed, and you dabble in the specific blends and strains.
For recent listeners of High Off the Glass, you'll know that I go to a whole lot of dispensaries in another state due to Oklahoma having medical reciprocity with our state, which means that with a licensing fee, they allow certain medical users to come from other states into their state and make uh, a small purchase, and then you can bring that to your home and use it in any way that you would like to help your medication. For me, I spent a lot of time playing basketball as a youth. I almost dunked a basketball when I was when I was 18, and my knees had never been the same since. But because of that, I have been smoking marijuana since I was about 19 or 20. That was in the year 2001. Yeah. The first time I actually ever had Blue Dream was in the year 2003. I went to Vancouver, British Columbia to go to film school. And British Columbia was one of the only two places in the world that had legalized recreational marijuana available for consumption. The other place
In 2003.
in 2003,
The other place would be Amsterdam.
the other place is Amsterdam, yeah. So I spent about a year in British Columbia. That was the first time I had Blue Dream and really experienced what it was like to have different strains available. I'm sure when we were buying from the black market back in the day, if you get an indica or a sativa, you don't really know. But I do feel that Missouri has some of the best testing in the nation. So when I get an indica out of a dispensary now, I'm pretty confident that is going to knock my socks off.
Is this an indica?
Blue Dream is generally a sativa.
Yeah, I'm a sativa person in general. I mean, that is the one thing that I do look for, because I am, as you know, I'm a creative person, and I feel like a lot of people say that they don't A lot of creators say that they don't partake while creating, and that it doesn't actually lead to them to a ton of ideas. And some are different. Like Seth Rogen is someone that has talked about it being part of the creative process for him that helps him. And I'm the same way. Where not that I sit there and I don't dome a blunt to myself and then write a screenplay, but I hitting a bowl along the process like we're doing now. Like that's something that is common for me as part of the creative process. But then as you know on set, I don't mean to tip the hand, but you were also part of Down the Long River. And as you know, I'm not somebody that was throughout the day when I was directing smoking weed. I would take a small break because it helps my anxiety. I have diagnosed anxiety, and it helps me tremendously with that. And so I can take a small break with it, but most of the time when I'm in the pocket, I'm not getting recreationally high. I'm more just getting like high to take care of my anxiety. And when I'm acting, I don't smoke at all because I find that fucking impossible.
Well, during the production of Down the Long River, we had several 14, 16, 18-hour days as a result of necessity. And when you've had a couple of these days in a row, you might need just a little something to take the edge off. You are waiting for the sun to go down. There is nothing for you to do for an hour and a half.
Or you're waiting on other processes. There's so many moving parts on a big movie like this, so you're waiting for other things to happen. Or it's lunch.
Yeah, and it's lunch. Yeah.
Um,
So I have to admit, as someone who really consumes a great deal of weed, during the production of Down the Long River, my best friend in terms of marijuana was the sativas. If you're probably, this is a little inside baseball. You only get this here on the pod. While I was not actively smoking during the day, at night, oh, the gloves did come off. I had brought 4 different kinds of indicas and 3 different kinds of sativas to the set in the allowable amount, and we had basically it was open season on bowls. If you wanted to smoke, my God, you're welcome to join me. But I might need to dose myself up with about 5 or 6 in a row. I am
dose myself up.
Look, when people talk about anxiety and relief from anxiety, a lot of times they will go to all kinds of different medications. And as much as I am a huge advocate for marijuana, I will be open and honest about criticizing my favorite thing in the whole world. Sometimes it is inconsistent in the anxiety relief delivery and the pain relief delivery. But when it does kick in, it's really one of the most perfect things in the world. I can feel absolutely perfect for several hours after it kicks in. And really, I don't feel like I'm experiencing mental fatigue while I'm under the marijuana. Okay. Having gone through
Definitely thought you were going to say under the influence.
yeah, under the influence of marijuana. I'm someone who has driven hundreds of thousands of miles more than an average person, and I've never had a car accident. I've avoided so many car accidents. There is a real truth to saying sometimes you need to slow down a little bit. You need to soak things up. You need to enjoy the moment. So, Harry, on a scale of 1 to 10, how stoned are you right now? Do you need another bowl?
I mean, I'll take another, but I don't know. I'm a very regular smoker, so it takes you talking about smoking at the end of the day on the movie. That that that's like we would get a level that I would get a level of recreational high. Then that's the way I think of it, because people talk about using it recreationally. That's the concept, and for me, most of the time, it's just like so that my brain can process in the way that I feel like other people's brains process on a normal basis. Like I'm also on escitalopram, which is a diagnosed drug for my anxiety, but that that is more involved in chemical levels and whatever. And this level that of I'm sorry, this is a long answer to 1 out of 10 question, but
So I'm going to put you down for a 10.
no, that's the opposite of true. I'm
Okay,
saying
all
it's
right.
more like a 3 or 4 to me right now.
Yeah, 3 or 4. Good.
Yeah.
Well, everyone is really happy when someone can correct a problem in their life. Um, One of the problems I've had in my life is that I've never actually personally rolled a cross joint. When I saw the movie Pineapple Express, I they've rolled a cross joint. It's a joint that has another joint going through it in the shape of a T for our listeners at home. Harry, have you ever tried to roll something like a cross joint? Have you ever done something maybe more extravagant than that?
I feel like you're setting me up for this. Yes, many such times. Like I think that everyone after Pineapple Express had attempted it, and then you do like several different people. You like Google it, and you see some people are like you roll 2 joints, and then you just poke a hole, and then you like insert one joint through the other joint, which to me is conceptually absurd. If you've ever fucking done this, because these things are not structurally sound enough to play with them like a fucking erector set.
Break it
But
down.
you,
Break it down.
but uh, then other people are like, no, you have to do this complex thing where you like shape it like paper mache around the whole thing. I've never understood how to roll a cross joint. I've never fucking done it. And then the one time that I've even been part of one that even successfully kind of worked, they just don't smoke well. I think it's a silly concept. It's not something we should pursue. But there's many things like this that I have done many times. Like when you roll like giant extendo blunts, or I remember one time we tried to put several relos, like I think it was maybe 3, like end to end to end, to try to roll like a cigar, like in a movie, like a thick like gangster cigar of
Wait. So you're telling me you had 3 blunts that you were going to put
yeah,
together
like
into a
you lick
super
them,
blunt?
you lick them so it's extra wide, like a magnum, and then that didn't work. Couldn't They didn't stick. They didn't hold together. But then we've done many extendo things. But then one time a friend of mine and I in high school, a mutual friend of ours, we rolled, I don't know how many, like 5 little joints, and then we surrounded them by joint paper around them, and I think we called it like the shotgun or something like that, or the Gatling gun, because they had like 6 barrels, the
Oh, so you called
revolver.
it the revolver.
Yes, yes,
This is 6 joints
yeah.
all together.
Six like thin like cigarette joints, inside of a big just fucking mess of papers to create like this giant thick paper thing. And then just we lit it, and it did not work at all, and we had to disassemble it into 6 individual joints that also did not smoke very well. But it was we had big ambitions.
If anyone is interested, there are no images on Google of a revolver joint. What Harry is describing is a completely original idea. There is no precedent
But you
for
know
such a
why?
creation.
Because it doesn't work.
Well, I invite all the listeners to try it for themselves. Comment, post, like, subscribe, and share, and let us know if it worked for them. So, Harry, one of my favorite things about Down the Long River is how far out into the elements that we were, how deep involved with nature, and how connected we were with nature. For the listeners at home, I want to stress to you full disclosure. I was the assistant director on the set, which is like saying the number 2. Harry is the most important artistic inspiration for the film other than the writer
Yeah, I was gonna
and
say.
the actors themselves. Harry is the main focal point of the movie. All questions about really the movie itself boil down to one of his decisions. And one of Harry's, I think, most creative decisions was trying to bring in a guest star. Harry, Can you tell the viewers at home that might be interested in this process what kind of guest star were you looking for, and who did you ultimately end up choosing?
I think guest star is more of a television term, but we, I, we had just talked about bringing in a name because we were especially number one anytime you're bringing in somebody that has a lot of film experience already, or not even film experience, but on camera experience. Just holding a camera is something that not everyone knows how to do. Even if you're a great stage actor, not everyone can just knows how to interact with the camera. It's not a natural thing, and so I wanted to look at people like that. I wanted to reach out to people like that, people that I also thought would be reasonably available, or I don't know if reasonably available.
Yeah, I agree. So ultimately, I believe two of your choices were Felissa Rose, who is the star of a 1980s cult film, Sleepaway Camp.
Along with, like, I think like 130 other movies.
Yeah, I believe specifically you'll find on Felissa Rose's IMDb that she's credited with over 155 roles on IMDb.
That would not surprise me. She's worked prolifically since Sleepaway Camp.
All
Which
right,
Kenan Thompson just announced that he's doing a Sleepaway Camp reboot. Did you see that?
Wow. You know she's going to be in that too. They've got
I
to bring her back.
I hope so.
Yeah.
I like if they don't, that's disrespectful. Like I will boycott Kenan Thompson if he does not bring Felissa back. I mean, at least for cameo. I'm not saying she has to be the main character of the movie, but Felissa's fucking fantastic. I actually that was James Dean, our producer, who has worked with her previously on his film Triple Xmas, who suggested bringing Felissa in. And he suggested bringing her in very early on in the process. And she was fucking tremendous. And she went out. I don't know if you went with them, but like she was so down to earth and so approachable. She was
when Harry says that she was down to earth and like she went out with them after her day of filming, there were several of us that have worked with Felissa Rose in the past, and they were at a bar just in Chesterfield, which is a town not too far from where we're at now, and just a pretty average bar. It was a Chili's, I believe. And
I didn't know you guys went to Chili's.
Hey, Chili's has a bar.
Yeah,
Chili's has a bar, and you know what? Shout out to Chili's. You know, not the worst thing in the world.
Baby back ribs.
And you know, it is literally the first stop on our way home from the set. And so I pull in and, buy everyone a round of drinks. And we hang out for several hours, chit-chatting, telling like road stories, set stories, talking about our past, talking about the future. When people say that a celebrity is a down-to-earth, normal person, it means they're just like us. They just want to hang out. They want to have a good time. They want to laugh. And they want to look forward to the future and enjoy the memories. So I was wrong. Looks like Felissa Rose has amassed over 200 film credits.
Yeah. Not at all surprising. Yeah. Not at all surprising. But that's not to say that Matt Cardona, who's also in the movie, that's who I suggested to be part of the film. That's not to say he was not down to earth. He just had to get back because he's so incredibly busy with what he does, professional wrestling, that even when he was injured at the time of us making our film, he was still on shows so frequently around the world that he had to go like immediately after filming. And we had him staying close to the airport, which was not where we were filming because we were filming.
Let's not move too fast here though, because this is like probably the most interesting thing we have in pre-production is the casting of a former WWE legend,
Intercontinental Champion, Tag Team Champion,
the Indie God, the
GCW World Champion,
the Deathmatch King, the Internet World Champion himself, Matt Cardona. Matt Cardona,
U.S. champion,
has how many? He's just a big deal. I believe he has like 6 or 7 championships right now, personally.
You would have to fact check that. I would not know that offhand.
Just a quick rundown on Matt Cardona. He was with the WWE for over 10 years. Had a very successful long-term career.
I think 15. I think.
Yeah, he was let go, I believe, early on in COVID, and went on to the independent circuit and has a very successful career as a very well-respected actor. I'm sorry, he's a very well-respected professional wrestler. He has never acted before. This is his
Not in
first
a
film.
Yeah,
This is going to be his very
feature
first film.
debut.
He rose to prominence because he created a series of YouTube videos in the early 2010s that really cemented his character as someone who was funny, who was off the wall, who was inventive.
Well, it's more than that. He was the first wrestler in WWE period to make their social media a way for them to get popular as a wrestler. And that is such a part of pro wrestling now. Like when I was a pro wrestler, I used to be a pro wrestler. And when I was a pro wrestler, you have to have a Twitter. Well, X the everything app. But you had to have a Twitter and that kind of profile online, and you had to engage frequently. It was something that everyone would tell you if you wanted to be successful in it. That's what you had to do. And that's because of him. That's part of the business now. That's part of the business. And it's not that he invented that being part of the business of being a public figure, but he looked at the way that influencers were rising and other people on YouTube making funny YouTube shorts, whatever. He looked at that and he said, I can do this. And this is a way for me to connect with people because I might not have that chance on television to show my personality like this. So it was called Z, the True Long Island Story, parody of E, True Hollywood Story. And it was also a lot of like insider jokes about professional wrestling that made fans on the internet feel seen in a way that like they previously had fucking shunned. And now it is truly a part of all professional wrestling in general to have this kind of like edge of like, yeah, this isn't real, but this is what I'm doing now. And like, that all of that was kind of, he's a pioneer in professional wrestling. It's more than what he's accomplished in the ring. He truly changed kind of everything about it.
Yeah, it's important to remember this. Here on Down the Long River.
And he was punished for it. Sorry.
Here on High Off the Glass, we like to keep our facts straight. We like to learn our history. And Matt Cardona's character is one of the most important kind of game-changing moments in the last 15 to 20 years for professional wrestling as a whole. So when we were early in the production process, our executive producer, the writer of the script, Down the Long River, he asks Harry and me during a meeting, who is this guy? I don't know anything about professional wrestling. Can you tell me something about him? And my response was, he is a very big deal to a certain amount of people. And those people it's millions. Everyone loves Matt Cardona. If you have been into professional wrestling over the last 8 to 10 years, there is absolutely 100% chance that you are familiar with some of his work, where he's at now. And he has been a crucial point for this production. He was in town for a limited amount of time. And during that period of time, we were able to include him in a night scene and an early morning scene. When I say that this guy was game to do anything, I mean that I have personally seen him tied to one of the dirtiest things you would ever imagine. When we asked him, okay, this is a small spoiler alert.
Well, hey, hold on.
Can we talk about the porta potty situation?
Well, that he went into a porta potty?
Yeah, when he asked.
Wait, are you talking about the actual porta potty or the?
Well, so for everyone involved, we only had one bathroom on set, for the day that Matt Cardona was in town. And this guy is kind of a legend in our eyes. We were all a little starstruck when he was on set. And like any human being, there was only one porta potty. He didn't flinch. He came in, came out, and, honestly, made the same joke that everyone else did. The porta potty was terrible. Was there anything that Matt Cardona did that was unexpected for you, Harry? Anything that surprised you? Were you expecting to be such a natural in his character?
Yeah, kind of. That's why. I mean, to be completely honest, that's sort of why I asked him to do it. I think honestly, okay, yeah, actually, to say something that surprised me is that, and I think that I shouldn't have been as surprised because professional wrestling has a lot of improv inside of it, but I a brilliant writer and filmmaker himself, Kevin Lanigan, is part of our film, and he flew all the way in from New York to be part of it, and had an arduous travel experience, the worst travel experience of anyone on the movie, honestly. And he finally got in, and his role, he was a production assistant on the film, and he helped a tremendous amount in that way. But he was also in the film, and his role in the film, because of the changing timeline, changed several times. And it ended up that he got to be in a scene and just improving a scene with Matt Cardona, and Cardona's being game to play with that and have to create this moment of levity in the film between the two of them. That was something that, like, I was surprised by. That was late in the day, and it was something that was almost just for me. And his willingness to do that. And Kevin is a fan of professional wrestling and saw they did this professional wrestling musical in New York. There was like an attempt to go on Broadway, and it was a musical and professional wrestling show, and Cardona was a part of that. It was called The Last Match, and Kevin had seen him in that, and then for Kevin to be able to improv with him was, I think, cool for both of them, honestly, to just have this fun moment in the movie, and that was surprising, I guess.
As the assistant director, I was deeply involved with getting Kevin Lanigan from New York to a very small town in central Missouri. And when someone has suffered so deeply for 72 hours, and then they continue to suffer for another 24, and then they finally get that chance to do something that I personally, as an actor, I would say is a dream come true. He got to not only act in a scene, but improv something with one of his personal childhood heroes. When when I talk about some of the magic of filmmaking, I really, high up on the list, Mount Rushmore is making a dream come true. And when you talk about Down the Long River, you're talking about over 60 people involved with the film. And Harry, I think you were personally responsible for making at least 60 dreams come true.
Oh.
Chief among them, Mr. Kevin Lanigan. Big shout out. When Matt Cardona left, it was in the middle of one of the hardest weeks that I have ever experienced
Yeah,
as
one
a
of the hardest weeks
filmmaker.
of my life.
There was a night that it was 90 degrees outside at midnight, and we were shooting a scene inside with a bunch of hot lights in a cabin that was built in the 19th century. Do you remember when that cabin was built? Was it 1840s?
Which cabin?
It was the larger cabin.
Oh, I mean, yeah. I don't remember if it was 1840s. It was built relatively close to the period of time in the movie.
Yeah, there's another cabin on this large property called the Cumberland Gap that has a cabin that was built in the early 19th century. It was like 1810, 1812. They moved these cabins there piece by piece, brick by brick. And like these cabins, our production grew stronger every day as it was assembled. On the hardest day of filming, down the Long River almost became the mutiny on the Long River.
Well, okay.
The heat got to a little bit of all of us. We changed our schedules up a little bit. We moved some things around, and we assured everyone that the weather and the heat was going to break. After Matt Cardona left town, the next day it was 70 degrees, shady, and cool. One of the biggest reliefs of my entire life. I love to make a prediction as the gambling guru, and that night, as many different people were coming to me with very, very angry intent, I was able to tell them with confidence that the weather and the heat will break. It's going to be cool in a couple of days. We just have to get through this hard day. Later that night, Harry and I both tested a very dangerous stunt that ultimately led to one of the actors being able to handle his fear of heights and execute the stunt flawlessly for the scene. Without giving anything away, Harry, do you remember being up there on that rooftop thinking about what you were going to do? How much it was going to mean to the actor to see you go through this safely?
Um, I remember thinking about how much I wanted to jump off the roof. Like I just remember thinking about how fun I thought it would be. But that's probably like because maybe the pro wrestling background. Like when you do one of the things I used to do in pro wrestling was a missile drop kick like off the top rope, and when you're doing that, you're jumping off the top rope onto your back like with extra steps, and it so to do it onto a bunch of fluff, I was just like, all right. Like this is cool. I actually sometimes, literally just yesterday, when I was driving home from our third final day of production, I was thinking I really wish I would have done a flip off the roof onto the fluff. Like I was thinking with with the kind of regret you have about something you really missed out on. I was like, I really should have done like a senton. Like I really should have flipped onto the thing.
One of my favorite personal childhood heroes was the Macho Man, Randy Savage. And while I was up there, I wanted to do a little homage to Mr. Randy Savage. Oh yeah, brother, you better know I did that.
I remember you jumped far, didn't you? Like you almost like came. I remember. Is that when you like almost came off?
I
like,
jumped high and landed right where I wanted to land.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
There was someone who jumped far. Maybe it was me. There was someone who everyone was concerned about. Maybe that's just because my height.
Well, I wanted to. I was up there and I was aiming for my hips to land in the center because I was worried that I might not jump far enough and then my legs might clip the bottom. So I know that if I hit my center in that center, bada bing, bada boom, I'm right where I want to be. And gosh, having watched you jump too, we all took cell phone videos of these things. And
I got told to stop.
I was, every time I watch it, I'm like, gosh, this looks like we're like jumping off of a cliff. Like this looks so death defying. And when you're there in the moment, honestly, I felt fine. It was great.
I felt that it was, we made it extremely safe. We made it extremely safe.
Yeah, I'm not really sure how much safer it really could have been.
I truly don't think. I thought it was safe several stages ago, and then we got convinced. I got convinced to make it even safer, and we did. And I'm fine with that because it ended up being very fun. Like it was like I mean, okay, the way it could have been safer is if we had like a net. I don't know.
But you could get tangled up in the net.
I don't want to get caught in the net. I'm not a fish. Are we supposed to talk about basketball? You mentioned basketball at the beginning.
Oh, sure. Well, we talk about sports, entertainment. Have you ever played basketball, Harry?
Yeah.
Are you a basketball fan? What's your favorite team?
Well, okay. No, let me go back to the first question.
Oh, here we go.
Let me take the question in parts. I did play basketball. I was not very good. My best memory of basketball in general, this will paint the picture of my basketball experience, is a time where we were down tremendously. Like we were losing like horribly, which was not uncommon for us. Um, and I played for a church team, a local church team, and that team had 3 tiers, and I believe we were the third tier. I believe we were the second tier by some miracle, but like not by our quality, maybe by previous uh, iterations of the same team. But this was middle school, and the best memory I have of basketball is it was late in the game, but not the end of the game, and the other team had possession, and someone else on the bench with me, of course I was on the bench, but someone else on the bench had this notion and began this, and I believe there was 45 seconds left in the game, but we all began to chant 10, 9, 8. And so then this young man who had possession from about half court throws the ball at the hoop, thinking that it is the end of the game, when in reality he still had 30 seconds left to play. And the ref said that if we weren't losing the game so horribly, he would have like ejected us and disqualified the whole team. But that is my best memory of basketball.
That's hilarious.
I'm 6'4", to any listener, so that's why I was like enlisted to play basketball. There was no question that at some point someone was gonna put a ball in my hands, and naturally I was.
You were 6'4" in middle school.
Yeah, yeah, I think so.
Wow.
Like I think that I'm pretty sure that I was at minimum, like when I was playing on this team, I was at minimum like 6'2".
Wow.
Like I mean maybe I'm full of shit, but I don't, someone that went to middle school with me fact check me. But I'm fairly confident I was at minimum like 6'1", 6'2" by the time I graduated middle school.
Well, here at High Off the Glass, we celebrate all levels of basketball and basketball talent. So, especially playing for a church league, even that young, probably led to a lot of real positive outcomes.
Yeah, it was great. I mean, like I have fond memories of basketball and playing it, despite not being good. Probably better memories of playing basketball than any other sport I played, despite the fact that I probably had the least talent in basketball. It's not that I like my issue is the whole dribbling thing. I'm not tremendously coordinated in that way. I think that dribbling is an underrated aspect of basketball and the talent that it requires to play basketball. To be able to move with that finesse down the court. Because here's what I can do. I can dribble a basketball and move down a court, and that's one column. And then stopping the other team from getting that ball from me is a different thing that I can only do when I'm standing still.
Well, my experience playing basketball is a little different. One of my best memories involves actually getting dunked on by a future NBA champion. And
Whomst?
his name is Tyson Chandler. He was drafted by the Chicago Bulls. Maybe it was the New York Knicks in the year 2001 or 2002. And we'll bring up his profile here as we speak. Anyway, as we continue the story, I used to play for a high-level high school basketball team in the state of Texas. We were the number one team for like a private school in the state that year. And when he was drafted number 2 in the year 2001, and this was the year 1998. In the year 1998, before the game, my coach said, guys, this team has a future pro. So you go out there and you play your very best. And when our team was losing by 40 points, and I just begged the team to let me guard him for one play. And the coach said, he's going to dunk on you. I'm like, I don't care. And I pushed him around for about 3 feet, which I think is what he wanted me to do. And then he dunked on me, right? And like what I really remember of this moment, because we had five guys that could do a windmill, a 360, and various kinds of like trick shots and stuff. I have never seen to this day in person anyone move this quickly. The way he jumped was at a kind of elite athleticism I have never personally witnessed ever, except for that one single moment. And I looked at my coach and he just gave me the shrug. He didn't know what to do either. And we lost the game by 50 points. But it's still one of my favorite basketball memories. Even in defeat, you can build a lasting memory. You don't have to be the very best, but gosh, basketball, it'll take you places. So, Harry, this movie, Down the Long River, we shot in what, two different states over 2 years, over about, well, I guess
Year and
12.
a half,
Yeah,
18 months.
12, 18.
Yeah,
Yeah,
18 months.
13, 18 months.
Yeah.
Yeah. From our first day of principal shooting to our
We,
last day of photography,
yeah.
which was yesterday.
Yes. Well, I mean, okay. If you want to be very technical about it, because we filmed a scene that is in the movie in either late February or March of last year,
Okay,
or
so
of 24, and then we started production on July 20th of 24,
wow.
because that was what the boat day would have been.
Yeah, it was July 20th. So on July 20th, the area where we were going to film had experienced a lot of flooding. And we had to cancel the scene with the boat. We had to move the scene with the boat to an undetermined day. And when that happened, we had to scramble. We ended up shooting a lot of things just sort of on the cuff, off the fly, making it up as we go. And this is one of the lasting images from that day. You'll see this on our IMDb. This is the main character of the movie, Doc, holding his very deadly rifle. It's a period accurate rifle.
It's a shotgun. It's a revolving shotgun.
Yeah, it's a revolver shotgun.
Yeah, it's a real thing.
Yeah, you might notice here he's got a barrel here. It rotates. It holds, I think, 5 rounds, and it was in use and is one of the guns that won the West. Very, very dangerous piece of equipment. This is actually happens to be a replica, though. This was shot in July last year in St. Louis. So we've been working on the film for a very, very long time. And we are so close to nearing the end of production. Harry, do you think we have any more days of filming?
No. We've wrapped filming 3 times now. No, we're done. We were told, it's just, when you're doing something like this, you would ideally have, infinite amount of days to do this. And it's something that when people hear about movies having reshoots or whatever, they always think, oh, it must be a disaster. Or like whenever...
Oh gosh, what was that?
That was the trailer for the movie briefly playing.
So you're saying reshoots for a movie must be a disaster?
No, that's the opposite of what I'm saying. I'm saying people feel that way, and then they whenever these big budget movies have reshoots, people get all scared, and then they think that means that there's a problem in the production. I would have 10 more days if I could to just continue to nitpick and like get tiny shots of this, tiny shots of this, tiny shots of this. But at a certain point, you have to stop. There's these things cost money. These things have a reasonable end.
Yeah, to bring things a little back full circle with this boat here, you'll see this is a still from the trailer. After we canceled the boat day, we were flooded out in July 20th. We had to scramble. We thought we would be able to have access to a boat in Iowa in mid-September. I ended up having to scout the location and go up there. The boat wasn't quite up to the standard that we wanted it to be, which led us to another riverboat in Hannibal, Missouri. Harry, do you remember anything about that process when I was sending video pictures back from Hannibal and LeClaire, Iowa?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yes.
And neither of those boats worked.
Yeah, and eventually our producer found this boat, which is up near the, oh gosh, what is it, at the Fox River near Chicago?
Yeah, it's St. Charles, Illinois.
Yeah,
Is the town where it is, and I'm not sure of the river.
yeah. The specific location, St. Charles. Gosh, we'll find the location here in a moment. But as you can see, I mean, it's an absolutely beautiful paddle wheel boat, and there's no secret about what is happening with the paddle wheel boat. There is a gang of bad guys, and they want to rob that boat. And you know what? They're kind of telling everybody about it anyway. Honestly, I think I'd want to rob the boat too. There's a lot of gold in that boat. So, Harry, when you first read the script versus what we ended up shooting, how many different changes did you push for? And ultimately, are there any that you might feel comfortable sharing in terms of like casting, in terms of like maybe adding to the film in any way?
Yeah, I mean, in the creative process of anything, I think any creative process that's going well, there's like an ebb and flow of taking notes and ideas. So then when everyone signed on to the project, everyone kind of gave their notes upon reading the script, and then Kurt, being the great collaborator that he is, he added some whole scenes and changed some stuff around. And then there's whole kind of areas of the movie that now are like really vibrant and thriving areas of the movie and characters in the movie that exist in the way they do because of everyone, not just myself, weighing in on what they thought would enhance the movie. And then even while we were making the movie, there are some things where I could feel, hey, it's actually going this way and we need to do this. And then, there's another thing where I'm a writer myself, so you write things with a location that exists only in your mind, and then you get into the real world and you realize, oh, we can't do it quite like this. So then there were many times where we had to get it into a place, and then myself and our director of photography, Daniel Garza, had to look at what we're seeing and think, okay, actually, what if it happens here? And then I'm just going through, sort of playing like imaginary cowboys in my mind, like going through and pointing my fingers here and going, what if he does this? And then this person does this. And and then that inevitably kind of changes the script. And that's like, the old famous adage that a screenplay is written 3 times. It's, written once when you write it, and then it's written again when you film it. Then it's written another time when you edit it, which is that's what's happening now. And that's why yesterday was necessary to facilitate that process.
Yeah, what Harry is talking about when he says yesterday is a pickup shot. And, just so we're clear with everyone, on what a pickup shot is, you might not even know. A pickup shot is when a short scene has to be refilmed. Maybe a new scene completely is filmed. Maybe it's just an image of something happening. It's just a small little bit of production. And what makes that significant with filming is that even for, what do you think, maybe 10 seconds, 20 seconds of what we shot is going to end up in the movie yesterday? Like what we did yesterday took maybe 8-9 hours.
Yeah,
And
yeah. I mean, it was a full day for me.
Maybe,
it was an 8-hour day.
What do you think, 20, 30 seconds? Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe really, this is stretching it. It's 15
20 seconds
or 20.
I mean...
And we're talking how many people were involved?
Yeah,
there were
probably 20 seconds. 20, actually,
like,
probably 20 or 30 seconds.
Yeah.
Because it's not going to... But that's the thing, is it's not adding 30 seconds to the movie even. It's like replacing 30 seconds of the movie.
It's so interesting. Like, what is the creative process about, like, Why do you need this extra 20 seconds? Like, I agree with you. I am personally involved with the project. I understand why you are adding these things, but is there anything you could maybe tell the audience about why you thought these things needed to be included?
Well,
Some people might think they're minor. Why are they important to
I mean,
you?
so when you're putting something together, you realize you need a shot of someone's hand. Like you need a shot of, you know, a, a, a face doing a thing. You need a shot of a gun going off.
Like
You need
a sense of place, sense of time, a reaction.
Sure, yeah, yeah, and that's something that we did yesterday as well, is just adding some like reactions into scenes, just sort of filling out some scenes, putting some people into scenes that weren't in there previously, not in a way with like green screens or anything, but just things to edit together. So, like you said, when someone says something, it gets a reaction, and then that gives us a moment to maybe take two different takes of a scene where one person did one thing in one scene and another thing in another, one thing in one take and another thing in another, and then put those together and stitch them together in a way we couldn't previously if we had nothing in between. Because if you have nothing in between, then you're kind of married to whatever happened. But maybe somebody nailed a look in the second half of a take where the first half you want from another version. And when you get these pickup shots in there, then that gives you a sort of a I don't want to say a band-aid because that makes it sound like there was something wrong, but
Yeah.
it
Well,
gives you a bridge to get to put two things together that wouldn't have worked without it.
yeah, filmmaking is a collaborative art. And in order to get these crucial things done, it took about 10, 12 people at least, the better part of a full day. And this is what's so important to
And two
remember.
horses. Two
Yeah,
horses also worked hard.
yeah, the two horses. Let's not forget. You want to shout out the horses' names? Bugatti.
Yeah, sure do. And it was Bugatti and then a horse named Ginger.
Yeah, Ginger. What a good horse.
Well, yeah, Ginger was actually not the same horse we worked with last year. That was a horse named Travis that we worked with last year. But Ginger
Really?
looks exactly like Travis.
Wow. So Harry, what is on the kind of the horizon for you? Are you thinking that the film is going to be completed sometime in the next 6 months? Are you looking at a premiere anytime, sometime in that kind of realm? What are some of your goals with the film once it is completed?
Well, we hope to take it as big and as wide as possible. We want as many people in the whole wide world to see the movie as they can. So once it is complete, we're very close to a picture lock now that we've got these last shots in, and we're making some final adjustments. We're doing some fine tuning, and then once you get picture lock, then that's when you do the awesome things like adding the sound and the visual effects. And we hope to have it ready to be released by next late spring, early summer at least. And then what the actual release process is dependent on if we take it to festivals, and then after that, how well it would do or not do at festivals. And then if we could get some kind of distribution deal or if we could self-distribute, either way, this movie is going to be widely available to you at some point in both physical and digital form.
It is an independent film, which means that it's being made outside of the studio system, so it does not have a guarantee of distribution.
In a
But with
traditional way.
some of the wide interest we've already received in the film, everyone should be very hopeful that's worked on the film.
And I
I
think that anyone that is interested in film festival circuits, both here locally and abroad, I think that you'll see us going to as many as we can.
Yeah, it was having seen two very rough assembly cuts of the film. Um, I am not as involved with the process as Harry is, and seeing it, trying to imagine the film, what it has evolved into, it very much excites me because just from what I've seen, it's absolutely incredible. I'm looking forward to seeing this film the day it comes out, and I just want everyone to know that High Off the Glass is going to keep you informed on all the cool entertainment things that are coming your way, whether it's from St. Louis or from somewhere else around the world. Now, we are closing up the show as we always do here with our Marijuana Minute. I want everyone to close your eyes and think of that time when you were young. That first time you learned what a bong is, what a joint is, what a glass piece is. Pack it up. Remember that moment. Close your eyes and come along on a journey with me. I am the gambling guru, and you came here for the picks. Last week, we were up over 11 units. If you've been following our picks, you profited quite a bit. So we're going to keep riding them all week. We're going to bet against the Rockies, and we're going to bet against the White Sox, no matter what. And if you want to game up a 3-leg parlay, throw those White Sox in as well. It doesn't matter who they're playing, they're going to lose. You can take that all the way to the sports book. Harry, I want to say thank you for coming out. Would you like to say something to the listeners? Lead us out of the show?
In what way?
In what way? The best way. Something from the heart, my friend. This is the Marijuana Minute, brought to you by High Off the Glass.
Good morning, in case I don't see you. Good afternoon, good evening, and good night.
You heard it here, folks. One of Harry Kolmer's favorite films, The Truman Show. One of my favorite films as well. If you haven't seen it, go watch it. You'll love it too. I want to say thank you to O the Great for having us host and having this special guest, Harry Kolmer, on. This has been High Off the Glass. And I hope you all know we will see you next week with a new surprise, as it is every week. Harry, one more time for the listeners.
Thank you.
That's right, everybody. We'll see you next time. This has been High Off the Glass. I'm the gambling guru. Good night, everybody.